People have asked me, oh, by the way, I'm Ed Montgomery, AKA Dr. Ed. People have asked me many times, what is vintage wisdom? And it comes from wineries, and it's a concept. Vintage comes from a concept of wineries where they talk about vintage wine. Sometimes they use the word with vintage clothes. It does not mean that things are old. In winemaking, it means the moment that grapes were crushed. Some people think that grapes, when they're luscious and big and juicy, that this would make the best wine or juice or whatever. But they said actually it's when you might have a slight drought or frost or sometimes insects where they have to strain to get those grapes moving and working and growing for that particular season. In other words, the more stressed the grapes, sometimes the better the vintage. And so sometimes the same thing with our lives. When we're all happy and wonderful and feeling good and everything, we don't always have much to say. We don't have much to pray for. We don't want to use our faith. I mean, nobody, when I say use your faith, we just want to just enjoy our lives and go get ice cream cones and snow cones and things of that sort. But unfortunately, life is not always on the high top of mountains. Sometimes life is lived in the lower parts of valleys. Life is not always on the Sunset Strip Boulevard. Sometimes life is in those dark corners, in those dark alley places where many people don't travel, and you have to walk, unfortunately, those things alone. Sometimes life is lived, even though there's a smile on your face, inside. What was it? Who was that? I think it was Smokey Robinson that says, take a good look at my face. You'll see a smile looks out of place. If you look closer, you can't even trace the tracks of my tears. And sometimes we smile a lot and let people know, hey, I'm doing good, I'm doing great. How you doing? I'm doing fine. Hey, how are you? I'm fine. What if somebody really asked you, how are you? And you just really told them, you know what? This is a horrible day today. Oh, well, praise the Lord. God's going to do great things for you. And then they're gone. But don't always fear those valley times, those dark places. Sometimes it's in these spaces that I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be the best time of your life. Listen, when you go through them places right there, this is not Sunday morning. It's not Sunday morning. This is our Wednesday night. This is me teaching. This is what would go in Dr. Ed's place. Okay, so I can say it like this. Listen, when you're going through hell like this sometimes in life, it hurts. And it cuts so deep inside of you, the wounds are there. You can feel the vacuum. You can feel the emptiness. Every section, every corridor of this thing, you feel it. However, if there's anything I can say to you that can lift, it would be this. That moment in your life is ultimately going to become vintage. You're going to look back at it, and though painful as it is right now, it's something about time, I think, that takes the pain and kind of wrinkles it out, smooths it out, unless you unless you create an intention to live in it. If you don't, it's going to hurt. Matter of fact, it may always hurt. But there will be something that comes out. And what comes out of it is a vintage. Something that you learn, a life lesson, a a stabilizing principle that happens so that in the future, when some things go on in your life, you're able to look back and say, you know, if I went through that, I can get through this. That's what becomes vintage in your life. And you may not know it right now, but it's like an old bottle of wine, a vintage bottle of wine, vintage clothing. It's stored up somewhere for a period of time. And after that period of, we forget about it. It's there. We know about it. Yeah. We don't want to think about it. Don't want to talk about it. People bring it up. I don't want to talk about it. And here's the reason why we can't talk about it then or for a while, you know, weeks and months, sometimes years later, because that wine is not ready. Those clothes are not back in style. They're still out of style. Those shoes are not back in style. They're still out of style. Ladies, you know, there's some shoes, you know, you look back 20 years, they were out of style. They stayed in your closet. All of a sudden, you look back, they thing back in style again. You put on a dress or something that you got on that you had, and I'm not gonna say ladies, I'm gonna say guys, or a suit that you can still get in it, or they had enough material to let it out. You might, or a shirt, you say, hey, this thing is still in style. And even if it's not in style, material to let it out, you might, or a shirt, you say, hey, this thing is still in style. And even if it's not in style, it's vintage, and it makes you look a little different. Where'd you get that? Where'd it go from? Where'd it come from? Oh, I just picked that. Where'd it go from? Where'd it come from? Oh, I just picked this up somewhere. It's vintage. They have stores that make buku money because it's vintage. Vintage means that was back then. That creates something that is tasteful, that is good, that is stabilizing, and that makes you feel good today. May not have felt good then, may have been stressful then, the grapes were crushed then, but now things are delicious. Now, make sure you hit that like button. If you're liking this, if you like it, hit it. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the share button, because I know these are, what are the rithograms? Hit the like button. When the like button, the more likes, the more the algorithms come in, and the more people are in it and watching us, then more people, the company will show it, Facebook, YouTube, will open it up to more people. Give me a cool bottle with ice and stuff in it, some water. Take the time to look at the things in your life that have been some crush. Is it time for me to bring it back and embrace it back into my life, even though it hurt then? Can I use it now to realize I'm stronger, I'm better? I just say in Shaft, shut your mouth, because you've allowed crushing points to become cruising points. Come on, cruise on down the road and enjoy it to come. Thanks for joining us today. Talk to you later. The word this year is bold. I talk to people and they say, you know what, Dr. Ed, I like the way I look, or they don't like the way I dress. Or, just a lot of things that people will tell other people what they don't like about them. But you know what I'm going to say to you? Sometimes you got to get to a place in your life that you got to get bold about things. Take some voice lessons. Do whatever you want to. Make some changes this year. But once you make those changes, let it be you that makes those changes. And once you're satisfied with you, then be the most extraordinary you can ever be. That's what I'm teaching on all this year. It's just the power of who you are. That's right. It's not just saying, oh, I'm a nice person. got to give something. When you give something away, whether it's a smile, whether it's a conversation, whether it's a pat on the back, it reinforces it. I want you to take a moment, make a contribution to Whitful, and it would make me happy. Thank you so much. I appreciate exactly everything that you're doing. Be bold. Shoes. I'm Ed Montgomery, author of Heaven in Your Heart and in Your Pocket Too. And today, we're not just going to talk about shoes. We're going to talk about what is it like to walk in your shoes. The best feel, to look good. I like it. You like it. I think we all want to be our best. But sometimes people don't realize what it feels like to walk in somebody else's shoes. I'm not talking about getting somebody's 9.5. Look at celebrities. We like to look at people that we say, boy, they really got it all together. Why? They got the best car, they got the best girl, the best guy, they got the best job. Look at them, money just oozing everywhere. Everybody is dealing with something. I think I'm going to back that up and say it again. Everybody is dealing with something. Even you and I, the things that you're dealing with took some tears, it took some scraping and crawling, and even if it didn't, there were some emotional things that you had to deal with just to get here. But I think more to get here. But I think more important than that, what has just ripped their hearts apart. And maybe they're just trying to keep a big smile on the outside, and inside, they're just about to let go. Learn to walk in somebody else's shoes. Go. Learn to walk in somebody else's shoes. Want to hear what's on your mind. Where are you from? Your city. What kind of shoes do you like? Whatever it is, talk to me. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you.